Alrighty, late night daily trading recap getting in today here on this Wednesday, the 2nd of March, 2022. Another little day in the red from my own stupidity of trying to go after one MES contract and I think trying to size in again with another stupid trading of it that I was convincing myself coming into today. I'm going to get into this before I get into everything else, but of convincing myself that it's almost just stupid for me not to at least try to be directional with one MES contract, because if I'm right, if I end up being correct, it's going to be huge, insane risk reward. But at the end of the day, I get in far too early when I know I shouldn't be within that first 15 minutes, half hour of market open before any real trend is even defining itself. And even today's like this, it's just Willy Wonka up and down. You can call this, I was identifying watching, saying, okay, obvious little double top region here, and saying, okay, should I push a button getting short? No, I don't want to be pushing more buttons anymore. I needed to clean my perspective, open my eyes to what is actually there. But then sure enough, that ends up being a nice little double top sell-off rejection immediately after that. And then pretty much right after that, however long this time frame is, of get a double bottom just under that open little low range there. And then that becomes another push higher, and even quicker push higher for a move there for nice points perspective on the future side of the S&P 500 today. Just so many layers and so many levels to trying to scalp or trying to just play ES futures on the S&P 500 or MES futures that way. But learning lessons all around, and just, stupid loss on that one. That one ended up being an $80 loss for how I was trying to finagle that stupidity. I did not take a spread trade, volatility within the first 15, 30 minutes of market open, going both long and short trade today. As I mentioned yesterday, I think I'm going to take it off Wednesday today and tomorrow as well, just to, like I mentioned, of opening the perspective and just, identifying what is actually there. But sure enough, today was a beautiful opportunity there for 3-4 points within 2 minutes there, going both ways for that today. But of course, what are you going to do? But yeah, looking forward for Friday to try and push that lever again with the conviction that I have on the probability for it happening that day. And that's all the journal notes I had for today. Before we get into it, let's talk about market dollar volume, just for reference for me. Of course, we were way after the close of after hours. NASDAQ, $246 billion volume of the day. NYSE, $400 billion volume of the day. OTC's $2.4 billion volume of the day. I traded MOHO. I was getting long this thing actually yesterday after the video recap, and as I'm doing more scans and seeing this thing. This trade was 100% just a totally intuition, gut feeling based trade, and that's why the size on this one was just so incredibly small. $64 size I took on this one, 200 shares. Just for some reason, in seeing this chart in the after hours, I just felt like something in me, and I wanted to relate it to AITX. I think that was the other crazy insane mover. ATXI, yeah. These are not the same stocks whatsoever, just completely different sectors, floats, everything about them. But just, I wanted to relate it to that, of just the feeling that I was getting from this one. But sure enough, I kind of lucked out for what it was. So I'll take a little 40% profit as it comes. This company, for reference, just for me, 24 million float, Chinese retail company. They got plenty of cash left just on their balance sheet, but they do also have listed here, I see, a $50 million shelf from June of 2021. Just so for all those factors, for not just totally gut-based intuition trade, and especially getting myself back into a little bit, digging my toe back in the water for these real small capper trades. 10 million market cap, I want to say, on this one too. Just to double check me here, 10 million market cap on this one. Quite insane. So dipping my toe back into the water for the small cap traders, taking an extremely small size, and lucked out pretty nicely. I think it spiked to 60 in pre. Of course, I was asleep at that point, but sure enough, as it's getting double toppy here, around this point, I take off like half into that. I think it was 100 shares into this pull here, but sure enough, it holds VWAP pretty decently, gets all the way to 50 cents. Doing that calculation in my head. Taking off another 50 shares, I think, at that point. Or maybe even 25 I just took off there, and taking off another 25 into this push in the morning, in that little morning spike within that first 3 minutes. Very nicely, 57 I think I got a fill there, and sure enough, lucked out that was another top. Thing pulls back all the way to VWAP, and I had 50 shares left as just a complete lottery share. Hey, I'm in this with zero attachment to any P&L gain from this. Let's just really push the lever to see how far we can risk and still give it enough leash to potentially maybe even let it do something in the afternoon. But yeah, it was just getting too downtrodden for me to keep to that sentiment for how it was breaking VWAP, breaking key price levels, breaking lots of things to the downside. So ended up cutting it, finishing out there for that 40% to close us out there for that little trade. Interesting little trade to be a part of. I will absolutely take it. That was MOHO. On to DWAC now. I still have my one share from yesterday, and we finally got that push above 100. Tui did a little great recap on this one for the small cap recap today. I don't think he actually traded though. I think he was just talking about it. We have broken $100 before, which he also mentioned, and I didn't necessarily forget about, but yeah, on this big crazy day, went absolutely insane parabolic, but yeah, it's pre-market when not a lot of things were trading. So then coming today, huge psychological level. Obviously, we do get the push above there, and the tough situation again for this higher price stock for me in that I want it to be very small size, but it is still just a practice trade for me and not so, again, widely convicted for me to be in it. So just taking it one share. Had I had multiple shares, had I had a larger position size, I would have definitely been taking off into these surges here, these huge volumes pushed to that $100 level, and even at this big rejection, as we do break to the upside of there, taking off and scaling out a majority of the position in this range here, but yeah, still leaving quite a substantial size. I'm not just depleting it, I would say nowhere, maybe around the 40-45% range that I would have left on of that initial position, establishing myself from yesterday that I would have wanted to leave on should this thing had attracted more volume and continued to push crazier. But yeah, you could just obviously see the key rejection points of where the hard red candles come in to say that, okay, there's death sentiment right here, right now, and the longs that are trying to bet that speculative play going forward are getting smacked here at specific points. I'm looking at 10:54 minute candle here, 10:25 minute candle here. We can pick out this 11:01 minute candle here, even this 11:23 minute candle. They just kind of line up one after another. And of course, I have to set the stop just a little above break even, and ends up stopping me like a few cents below my original entry. So I end up taking a loss on it for how we had some nice price action in the morning session. That's just whatever it is. But yeah, like I mentioned, I would have been scaling out for sure with more than just a one share position. But glad to be a part of it today. And yeah, just unfortunate for the time perspective that I had for this trade. I really wanted to see that momentum and continuation come through today for that push and just any squeezy craziness to have happened today, but just that it was just through 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, call this one a fifth hard sell-off. To be able to endure those is just a lot to go through. And then to expect it to have even crazier and further upside after that is just a big ask. It's a big stock. It's a big mover for sure. But even that too, I was just a tough sell. So that was really the reason for the exit on that one. But gosh, it's still holding incredibly well on the daily. I wouldn't be surprised to see if this thing had another leg, another boost of adrenaline left in it for pushes higher on that one. And those are all the tickers I had for the day, keeping it nice and quick. Some tickers on the watch list potentially for tomorrow. INDO pushing some nice levels here again. The crazy moves have happened like pretty much immediately in pre-markets on this Monday, the start of the week here. Happened immediately at the opening of pre-markets, but even on that first green day, I think it happened during market hours, so that's good to see. But yeah, I don't really see any key or ideal specific points of entry for me right now. It would have been more of a playing that today off of this little double bottom on VWAP here, using that as an entry point and sitting in a very, very powerful position for holding this one into the trading day tomorrow and watching the events unfold there. But yeah, as I'm sitting on the sidelines now, just hard to see any spot to get on the train unless we see something opening up in pre-markets there tomorrow for some squeeziness or craziness on that one. And then ELEK, nice OTC mover, first green day today. We'll see if it has any nice second day continuation tomorrow. Not the most beautiful price action that I like to see or be a part of, but first decent-ish good OTC ticker that I've seen or kept eyes on in a good amount of recent time. Only $3 million volume traded on the day, 2,300 trades in total. So kind of as identified by a lot of these dojis here on some of these 1 minute candles. not the most beautiful price action or just momentumous continual trading type of stock that I like to see, but I can't deny 300% gain on the day. That's quite awesome to see, so we'll keep eyes on it. That is all that I had. Excited to keep after it. We're keeping putting in the work, and we're getting after it day by day. I sincerely thank you guys for watching. We will catch you guys on the next one.